In a world that moves fast and forgets easy, veterans, after they take off their uniforms, coaches, shaping tomorrow's leaders today, volunteers, choosing service over self. Everyone has a story, and most of them exist because they kept trying. These are the stories, so they are not forgotten. My name is Bill Lowe, and this is Semper Tri, because trying beats quitting. Welcome, episode 3 of Semper Tri, because trying beats quitting. I have two guests today. We have Jennifer Lowe and the Grinch. We'll only be interviewing one of them. The other one will just be watching. So Jennifer, why are we interviewing you today? What organization are you with?
I am the Director of Foundation and Community Relations at Cuyuna Regional Medical Center in Crosby.
Cuyuna Regional Medical Center, so CRMC.
Yes.
Okay, so how long you work there?
14 years.
Oh, jeez. So I'm guessing that got you into volunteering. Maybe you volunteered before that. Your number one charitable organization that you do that we could probably talk about is well, you married me, so that's charitable work right there, is being my
I
wife.
suppose it could be, yeah.
Yeah. No, just kidding. So what's the charitable foundation, right?
Foundation. So CRMC Foundation is the official title.
Okay.
Yep.
So what do they all do? How do they help the community?
So the CRMC Foundation is 100% patient-centered or centric foundation, as they like to say. So 100% of the proceeds we raise go back to help our patients in the community.
Okay.
So we're not raising to support other organizations, even though the organization itself does that. But the foundation is 100% supporting our patients
Okay.
in the community. So
Perfect. And how do you help the patients?
So a lot of it, two biggest ones are cancer patients and type 1 diabetes. So two passions in the community that areas where patients need a little assistance when they're going through cancer treatment, or patients that are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes who need just a little financial assistance. Diabetes is a very expensive disease to manage. And we want to be able to help those individuals make sure that they have everything available to them, cost wise. Insurance gets really funky. A lot
Right.
of times they might not, their pump is failing and insurance says, you're not due. So then we'll help augment some of that expense for
Nice.
the patients.
So I know through the years, well, just here recently, was it in October, we did a cancer fundraiser?
Yep, every October we do our Kaleidoscope fundraiser, which raises money for the Courage Cabinet and helping our cancer patients. So.
Perfect. And I don't know if we did it this year or was it last year we did something, was it because of Brandon?
Because of Brandon, it's every other year.
Okay.
And that raises money for the type 1 diabetes
Type
program.
1 diabetes, because Brandon was a local patient, right?
Brandon was a Ironton native, Crosby Ironton. Went to high school there. Dad, well known in the community, Brandon Hogue and Doug Hogue. And Brandon died from complications from type 1 diabetes. So we created the fund in memory of Brandon and just creating awareness to others in the community that managing type 1 isn't easy. There is some stigma associated, especially for young males, we find a little more. That young males in the community don't want to draw attention to having to, take their insulin or manage their glucose or check where their sugar levels are at during the day. And so there's a lot of stigma associated with that.
Right. And it's a medical thing and it's necessary for life. So
it is necessary.
I hope they can get past that and get the help they need and manage it, because life is
worth living.
Well, it's worth living, and it is more normal when it's managed right. And can you say that life will ever be normal? No. Life will never be normal for them because they always have to daily, hourly, however it works, manage this, but let's get as close as possible.
Technology has helped a ton with, I think, a lot of the management of it, because now everything alerts come to your phones. If you're a parent, it comes to your phone. If your child is, their blood sugar is starting to drop, you'll get alerts. And so I think technology has enhanced a lot of that. We see work being done with artificial pancreas. Oh my gosh. And work happening in that. So who knows what the future holds? But right now, our goal is just to help the patients, make sure we can help patients needing that financial assistance. But also, we work a lot with youth in the community that are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. That was a passion of Brandon's dad, Doug, in ensuring that we were helping the kids as they're learning to manage the disease flourish. And so we work a lot with sending kids to camp There's a camp in Hudson, Wisconsin called Camp Needlepoint, where they go to be with other type 1 diabetes patients. And so the kids they're a normal kid. They get to go be with other kids diagnosed with diabetes. And then there's a lot of medical professionals on hand. I think it's a 1-to-5 ratio of medical professionals to campers. And so they're managed, but they're also learning from others how to manage the disease.
So if someone's watching this or they're, new to this with a kid or a grandkid, can they reach out to you?
Absolutely.
Can they reach out to the hospital? How would they get this
They
information?
can either reach out to the foundation, or if they're a patient at CRMC, they can reach out to our diabetes team, work with their provider, and receive funds. They don't have to be a patient of CRMC to receive funding to go to Camp Needlepoint. That was something we wanted to make available. They just have to live in this service area to everyone.
Right.
For the financial assistance, you have to be a established care with us on that piece. But for camp, we wanted to make sure all youth have the opportunity to go to camp.
Sounds like it'd be a good opportunity. Yep.
It is. It's a great opportunity. It's 91%, I think, is the statistic the American Diabetes Association gave us, of youth that go to camp once come back learning a self-management technique. So they learn how to manage it from others. There's a lot of peer support in that instance. So something we really believe firmly in.
Awesome. So being this is kind of like, I know obviously this is your career and your job or whatever, but the reason I wanted to interview Jennifer is there is a lot of volunteering that you do. I know we do together. And what's the big one? You're the president of what organization?
So I am the board chair for Smiles for Jake, which is a suicide prevention movement here in central Minnesota, named in honor and memory of Jake Hapajoki and others that have died by suicide. It's a passion near and dear to my heart, and something that I will probably always be tied to, and just something I believe that every life, I think I mentioned earlier, is worth living.
Yep.
And we can struggle with depression or anxiety and all of that, but it's learning how to manage it, and it is manageable. And there are people to talk to, and it's having the difficult conversations with your family members. I've had it with your son, you were there. And just talking about it, and when it's okay to speak up and talk to others. It's hard, but it's worth it. And you want everybody around you to be here tomorrow. And I think the big thing we preach with sponsorship is being kind to one another, because a lot of times you didn't have no idea what someone is really struggling with.
Right. And that I've heard that from my own boys with stuff that goes on at the schools, and they'll something that they show interest in, and let kids be kids, but something they show interest in, and then they kind of like can't let that be known at school because they're like, well, why do kids have to be so mean? So that be kind. And I know you guys are working with Forest View, the middle school, to try to get that message out and let that stuff.
Yeah, we've had a great partnership with Dr. Stelmach at she was at Baxter Elementary, and then now she's moved over to Forest View. But we established a relationship with her when she was at Baxter Elementary, and that's now carried over to Forest View. And just changing that 5th to 8th grade, it's a hard age.
Right.
Kids are coming to their hormones, and they're learning, and it's really a time in their lives when they're really starting to develop, I feel like. And I think that's when a lot of good habits are formed, I think. But we also see just things changing, and they're not having to adjust to it easy. I watch it with our stepson, who's 11, my stepson, your son, who's 11. And, I see the change in him, and it's hard because he's starting to come into the hormones, and he's starting to develop that. What tools can we equip these youth with so that they can be successful tomorrow? And technology plays a huge part in all of this.
Right. So technology, I know I've done the Smiles for Advocate training. So could you talk a little bit about that, and what could members of a business or a community out there that want to know about that?
We at Smiles for Jake, besides how we can change lives, is by getting the tools in front of individuals in the community. And I think I said it earlier, having conversations about mental health is very hard. There's so many stigmas, TV, social media, all of that have influenced it. And so people are afraid to have those conversations. And having those conversations can be tough, but they're also life-changing. And so we want to equip people in our community and across the state, across the country, with the tools necessary so they can have those conversations. unfortunately, there are things you can say that are wrong. You know, hey, you're having a bad day. Somebody says, I'll just tough it out. It'll be better tomorrow. Those are the worst things you can say. We want to be able to say, hey, I understand. Let's, do you want to talk about it? Let's talk about what's going on. Or if you notice a family member having this conversation or struggling, and they're just seem, really, they're normally very chatty and they're really quiet lately. You want to pull them aside and say, what's going on?
Yeah, and I know for my experience, I went through that Smiles for Advocate training.
Mhm.
Um, Being a veteran, being in the Marine Corps, you didn't have always the kind heart and be nice. I mean, we would use saying like, "But did you die?"
Yeah.
Or, like, so those phrases of stuff you shouldn't say to people sometimes and stuff you should say. I mean, if it's one of your best friends, hopefully you can get away with it, but like just your coworkers and other people, it really to be kind and to see some of those early warning signs that you never would have thought were a warning sign. So if you could reach out, can they find information online?
Oh, yes. Smilesforjake.org has all of the information about Smiles for Jake. You can go to our Facebook,
Yeah,
Instagram, all those sites.
message them, find out about this advocate training.
Yes.
My work just did it, and we did it with like 80, 90 employees
Mhm.
live. The That hour that it takes, it's well worth it. I don't know how small of a group they do, but I'm sure,
Oh, we do all sizes.
yes, it's worth it just to sit back and listen. So
Well, and I think it just gives you the viewpoint of what we all take for granted. And,
yeah,
it makes you think a little bit and step back and really look at how things work. And we'll tailor it. We're very fortunate that the board of directors for Spouse for Jake is very diverse. So we have individuals in all different varying backgrounds. We have a former educator, on our board, and he has been instrumental in us getting into the schools and then really tailoring that training towards either teachers or students, whatever the audiences we're talking to. We'll tailor. We've been into some organizations where they've had a recent suicide, and we'll tailor it to meet that. Uh, Being with Kinder Regional Medical Center, I've been able to bridge the gap. And so we provide the mental health piece, the background. And so the information that we're sharing, we're vetting to make sure that it's accurate. I'm running it through our providers, working with our teams there to make sure that when we're talking, it's adequate information, it's the accurate information and the tools.
right.
Um, by no means are we mental health providers. I'm a foundation, I direct the foundation, raise money, but I'm an individual in the community that believes passionately about it, and will continue to work to make a change because I believe it can happen.
So a question I have is going through that, there's a story in there, and it's a little video clip that's watched. And the story is in there, and it's called The Backpack,
Mhm.
I believe. Is that available to
Mm,
people besides this?
Not yet.
Not yet. So
Not yet.
that's only through this training right now.
Yes. So one of our board members, Mike Schmidt, who's a dear friend of mine and yours,
Yep.
Mike filmed that after the loss of his wife when she was going through her cancer treatment. So Heidi passed, and they would go for chemotherapy down at Mayo with a backpack.
And she passed, just to be clear, she did pass from her cancer. She did
Correct.
not take her own life.
Correct.
It was a peaceful passing on their part, as
Yes,
peaceful as it
that
could be.
was
But
beautiful.
it is just an amazing story. We don't want to give it away,
Yeah.
but when you can see the video, if you get that chance, or if you can get this training,
It relates to a lot of things in life, I think, that
yes,
we go through. And I think that's the piece that, we want to make things relatable to the
yep,
general public. And I think that's where the backpack and the story behind cancer and,
yep.
it relates to suicide and just really to the loss of an individual, somewhat a loved one. And it means so much. And we're very grateful for Mike for, sitting down and, taking this piece out of his life and sharing it with others, but turning it into something that's really become a beautiful memory of his wife.
Yep. And so on the suicide thing, and this is just my own personal take on it, is, and I don't know where I saw this clip, so zero credit gets given to me or whatever, but there was a clip out there where it was a young lady and she was saying, I mean, if you think about it, if you were to take your own life that next day, your friend that usually got a text from you isn't going to get that text.
Yep.
Your mom that normally called you on Fridays or whatever it was, she's going to have nobody to call. I mean, it was such a strong video, and I wish I could find it and share it with the world again. I'm sure I shared it a long time ago, but it's something to think about. So let's change gears. Brighter note. There's other volunteering you do. You are also a member of,
The Cuyuna Chamber of Commerce.
which is 100% volunteer.
Yes. So
And-
I serve as right now the vice president of the chamber,
Okay.
and promoting businesses in the Cuyuna Lakes area, which is your Crosby, Ironton, Deerwood area. Bringing tourism to the area, really just promoting different events, just trying to engage as a community to be active.
Okay. So when did this volunteering thing, can you look back? When do you think it started for you?
Probably when I moved up north, realistically, in all honesty.
So where did you move from?
I'm from the Twin Cities area, so I moved up here 14 years ago.
Okay.
And call this my home. I'm so excited to be up here and out of the Twin Cities, and really wanted to just become more involved in the community. I think being not a native from the area, it was, I struggled to make friends right off the bat to get involved in things, and decided that, I was going to just reach out and become part of these organizations to know more about the community that I was living in and give back. And I was fortunate that I had a great experience with the community, and especially in Crosby, a lot of the members opening up and welcoming me to the area. That after a couple of years, I decided, these people have been so great to me and so welcoming and so kind and so generous, that I wanted to get back and give back and help them as much as I could, because they were so instrumental and kind to me.
And I know with going on to the volunteering thing, I know you've taken on more
Oh yeah.
since we've been together. I mean, I've sucked you into the helping the Brainerd JCs, volunteering in the community, do that, helping at the Brainerd American Legion, with all of the youth groups, sporting things. I know you've helped me with, volunteering the coach for the clay target team, and just everything, I guess, that I do, you kind of do, and vice versa. I mean, I probably don't get involved with the chamber, but you do your fundraising events, your golf tournaments and stuff for CRMC, so there's volunteering goes both ways. And boy, it's a lot easier and a lot more fun to volunteer when,
You're not in charge.
yeah. Well, or you just have your best friend there,
Yeah.
or something like that,
Yeah.
But any veterans in your family?
Actually, my grandfather. So my mother's dad was in the Navy.
Okay.
So he served during the war on a ship, and I can't remember what ship, but he was in the Navy and he served during the war, and very proud of that. And then he went on to become a firefighter in the city of Detroit. If you can imagine, back in the day. Very and he was a paid firefighter, not volunteer. This was his profession back in the day. But yeah, rough. So
Okay.
I'm really glad he had that naval training to go into the city of Detroit to be a firefighter. And that was the history in my family. My great grandfather, his dad was also a firefighter.
Okay.
In fact, he drove the first motorized fire truck in this city of Detroit back in the day.
That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago, yeah.
So, see if we can get the trifecta here.
Yeah.
Ever coached anything?
Nope.
No.
No.
So only two fectas for Jennifer.
Only two. No. Oh, support you with the
right. So, yeah, maybe in a couple of years she'll be a coach there too.
You and the boys, doesn't that count?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because you can try to coach us in cleaning and help pick up, but we're still boys and
You're still guys. Yeah, that's true.
You're
I still love
you're
you.
not a very good coach. I'm just kidding.
Thanks.
So,
wow.
Well,
wow,
your athletes aren't doing a very good job. So, I think that's the one where the coach does more of the work. But thank you for this. Thank you for being supportive of this podcast. And, I thought it'd be fun to start, and how many expenses go in behind the scenes that it's like, didn't you know you need to buy that? Didn't know you'd need to do that. And it's not that it's a lot, but just little things that's like, thank you for being supportive. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for telling stories of the community.
Well, yeah. And I hope we get a lot more good ones. And like I said, this was episode 3. I don't have episode 4 lined up. I know I kind of get, usually that I have a couple people in mind. So it's just going to be random. We're going to figure out who they are. It's going to be whoever I can line up at whatever time. We are taking a vacation in February, going with some friends. One of my friends that is going is a veteran. I'm like, we're doing a poolside Semper Tri interview. So
There's some volunteers in that group too. There's people
yeah,
that volunteer. So
yeah, maybe we can record a couple episodes
yeah,
while we're in Mexico, so yeah.
there's a lot of people, or a lot of our friends, I feel like, support the community in different ways.
Yes.
Either it's a financial donation, but besides
Right.
supporting the veteran.
And well, like I said, I'm hoping that this can go on for many, many, many years. Maybe we can grow this and just, tell these stories. So
Well, you're welcome to come out to any of my events and promote. We have a
yeah.
Christmas one coming up.
Oh, let's talk. I forgot about that. What's this big event? And this is tying two of your
This
organizations.
ties two of them together. So this is a partnership with Cuyuna Regional Medical Center and Smiles for Jake. And actually, I mean, really the chamber. So it ties everything together nicely. But it's a community event where we take over the park in Crosby and on December 6th. So it's always a first Saturday in December.
That's only a couple weeks away.
Only a couple weeks away.
Yep,
we don't have snow yet, so I don't know. It'll be great though, either way. It's a little nicer for me when it's a little warmer.
So yeah, look it up, Crosby. That's Saturday. Come on out.
It's Snow Many Smiles. We have a great lineup. We have the district band coming to play, fireworks. Everything is 100% free. It's meant to bring the community together, to connect with one another, to leave your phones aside unless you're taking photos, but really just come in and connect with your community, connect with your family, connect with your friends, and just come and celebrate
Yeah.
the holidays.
After last year, this is one of the coolest things I saw out there was, giving plugs where I don't need to, but we will, was Thrivent and one of your friends, Annie,
very dear friend.
They did this Build-A-Bear
Yes.
thing, and I'll make up a number. We can be fact checked later. The number was, I'd say, 900 bears. These kids it was so freaking cold. These kids were so excited.
Oh my gosh.
When I say kids, some of these kids were 30, 40, or 50 years old that were excited about this.
Or moose.
Yeah, this snowman, this moose, these Build-A-Bear stuff. So I'm excited to see that again this year.
Well, that was probably one of my best stories. Annie knows the story very well. Was when I walked up Annie unfortunately got sick at the time. Do you remember this? And I walked up to the tent and there was a bunch of, we'll say, younger gentlemen. I'm not quite sure if any of them are dads yet. Their eyes were so big because these kids were just everywhere. And I actually stopped and chuckled. Usually on these days I'm going a mile a minute. Most people know because I'm keeping so many balls in the air juggling. But I actually stopped and chuckled. And then I remember going to grab my friend Katie and said, you have to get over to Build-A-Bear. The guys are deers in headlights. Like, they are so, like, because these kids were everywhere.
Yeah, I remember they had, the facts might not be there, but like there was 3 guys probably there. And they thought they'd have 3 little peaceful lines. Come up, here's here's the stuffing, here's the heart, here's the stick you use, and just like, here's some instructions. And I remember jumping in and helping, and it turned out to helping 3 kids at a time to, here's your heart, here's your heart, here's your heart. Did you get your stuffing? And we made an assembly line. And then we got tables over there. We got tables in those tents. You can go over there and use those tables. And it was just like, I know there was like 4 or 5 of us just like bam, 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 trying to help them knock these out. Like I thought it was going to be peaceful and easy. And like I said, just the lines formed, and the kids were so excited.
They were really excited. So we have 950 bears this year, but it's actually kind of a fun twist. So to help some of that chaos, Annie, one of her coworkers, wrote a book. And so when kids come up, there's kind of threefold for this. So when kids come up, they will get the book. It's on kindness. And so the kids have to read the book on kindness. When they're done reading the book, they will build one of those characters from the book. That is what they will take home. So they'll build one and donate one as the hope. Unless it's super busy, which we'll see. I hope it is. But they will build it. But they're going to take home with them the stuffed animal and a book on kindness to talk about it. And it's really cool because it's just, it's bringing the whole thing together. A further step we did this year too was then they developed, last year, we started for the first time a coloring contest. that really took off. And we partnered with Brainerd Public Schools, Crosby area schools, where the kids colored a coloring contest, and then we award grades K through, I think it's K through 2, 4 through, or 3, 2 through something. I don't know. There's 3 awards, different levels, and then the kids drew these, um, colored this coloring contest. It was in the paper. We distributed pieces, flyers to all the schools. We're doing that again this coming week, and kids can submit it. It's free, and the teachers really embraced it. And so I had teachers emailing me their whole classwork,
Awesome.
so we could print them and then put them. And it was so fun to, bring a fun piece to the hospital too, for our residents, or for our patients and our residents and the community members when they came through. So I had the main hallway in the hospital lined with all of these pictures that the kids did, and so fun to see. And then they got to vote for their favorite in each, and then we had people's choice. But this year it'll be the characters from the story.
Awesome.
So the kids will kind of get their first introduction, not really learning much, but then when they come out, they'll be able to tie the pieces together. So
Perfect.
yeah, it's a fun way to do it. That event too, I should mention. I don't know if you remember Teen Challenge, Minnesota Teen Challenge, partners with us. The guys are amazing. As you. Oh my gosh,
Super hard.
and so kind and grateful. People that they are trying to change their life. This is exactly everything, we work for, is don't judge a book by its cover. And these guys are, every year I walk away going, that touched my heart in so many different ways. But they volunteer their time. They come out. Sometimes they'll come out and help us set up. It depends on their schedule, because a lot of them are in their choir. So it depends on their winter concert. But then they come and help us tear down. And then last year, a few of them came and ran some of the games. And I'll never forget. And there's a picture of it. I think it's in our newspaper wrap coming out the week of Thanksgiving. But one of them, he's wearing those inflatable antlers, and the kids were tossing the rings on their head, and you could just tell what it meant to him. And that is 100% what that event is about.
Yep.
It's about those connections that we make, and to give those gentlemen an opportunity, while they're trying to change their life for the better.
Yep. And brings the community together, gives back to the community.
Yeah.
Putting service over self. Anything?
I think he's
still quiet, so
he's a little grumpy.
Maybe we'll get him in a later interview. If you have any questions or you want to reach out, it's sempertripodcast@gmail.com. If you're on Facebook, or I'm working on Instagram, leave me a message there if you have questions, or someone that would love to do this with me. I'd love to sit down. I'd love to hear their story. So appreciate it, and thank you, and we'll see you next time. Have a great Thanksgiving.